And Kathy, it's been a unique evening tonight, and it was a beautiful sight to watch your players negotiate and discuss and have this impassioned this moment to come together for this decision. What were some of the factors that you pointed out to them and that they were considering?
Yeah, we know it's a very emotional time for our players. We know that they're struggling with what has been happening in this country, for months, if not years. They're young, they're trying to find their voice. I've been so proud of how strong their social justice voice has been around Say Her Name and women victims. And so it's difficult, but I also felt that I needed to point out how strong they've been through this and to give them some courage and some confidence that, basketball's been part of their platform and that they can do both. And obviously they decided not to play tonight.
I heard one of the players say, "We need to know that the league has our back." And I would love to hear, how do you have your players back when they are making these difficult decisions?
Yeah, we absolutely support them. We are running a very player first agenda, so we said that from the beginning, and that's why I was here to listen, to talk with them, to listen, to impart maybe some of my knowledge from my experience, and to really help them think through strategically what this night meant to them and then where do they go from here. So, absolutely supportive.
I do wonder, where do we go from here? How does this impact games tomorrow night? There are full slates of games scheduled for the next several weeks. Is where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think we'll use this time off tonight, we'll call it, because, our players are playing every other night. So, to go back to the hotel and to sit down with some of the players and talk with some of the coaches as to where we do go from here. And obviously, we're calling this for now a postponement, and hopefully we'll pick up, these three games and talk with the six teams playing tomorrow night who aren't the six that played tonight and see how they're feeling and how, again, I think they can band together in solidarity and really have a strong platform, but also play basketball.
I can remember when people first started speaking out in the WNBA, and it wasn't always a league wide initiative or supported by the WNBA. And now here you are, just absolutely in this fight with your players. What is that like for a professional sports league to be so supportive of your players in these moments of social justice?
Well, the one thing I noticed when I came into the league about a year ago is how strong their voices were. And think about that. They do it year round. And you know this because we know the Maya Moore story. We know Natasha Cloud. We know so many advocates for social justice in this league and so much diversity in this league. So, from my perspective as the commissioner and the leader of this league, there's no real choice here. We have to support our players. We know that this is a very emotional time, very divisive time in our country, and what we're trying to do is unify, come together with them, help facilitate some conversations with social justice activists to help them strategize about how they can have an impact, because we all want an impact, whether it's on voting, whether it's on other social justice areas. Last night we talked about mental health as part of our games last night and the impact of mental health on some of these female victims and how that's perceived in our society today. So again, tonight we were going to do breast health awareness as well. So the players are always thinking and we're always supporting and helping facilitate what they want to stand for and what they want to stand up for. And I think there's no time like the present to support them.
There was a powerful moment after the decision had been made, ultimately, Washington making their decision and everyone supporting them that they would not play tonight. And everyone came out onto the court and locked arms together and knelt down. And I just wonder what you were feeling, not only as a commissioner, but as a human being seeing that tonight.
Yeah, and I know it was very emotional, and all day today, I think there were so many emotions. It was a bit of a roller coaster as you saw things play out in other sports leagues as well as ours. And I think that was a moment where you knew that all the players were going to do the same thing tonight, whether it was all play or not play. And then you knew that maybe they had a sense of relief that the decision was made, that they all stood together and that they all locked arms. And again, they want to have a very strong voice and to drive change, and they're still trying to find their way on how to best to do that. And I think tonight was another start of that.
As Neko Ogumake, who is such a fantastic president of your Players Association, I see you two huddled up having conversations. She has said that it's important to consider what are the actionable items moving forward. How will you be involved in those discussions, and what would you like to see moving forward?
Yeah, I absolutely think this is about actionable items, which is when I addressed the players tonight. I was trying to talk about what we could do together, what we could help facilitate, what they wanted to do going forward strategically, because, we have a league, we have games, so tonight's one night, the emotions are raw, very raw coming off this recent incident. But the overall change agenda, whether it's, I know we have a lot of our players advocating on voting, We have, again, the variety of other things, criminal justice reform, gun reform, things like that. So we have a lot of different angles to this. And I think as the players kind of find their voice on one thing, I mean, we have to support them on this, but I think strategically we have to have a better view of how to affect change. And I think the data will show coming off of this season, the Say Her Name campaign and elevating these female victims that no one knew about. I think the WNBA and the players will get a ton of credit for doing that. So we'll just continue to help facilitate, bring in, strategists. I really think strategists is where you get the ideas to affect change, because our players have such great followership, and now it's about strategically thinking about how they can affect the most change quickly, because we all know, everybody says, well, change isn't going to happen quickly in this area, but I think the players are getting a little impatient with it, which was why we ended up with the result tonight.
And last, before I let you go, you talked about being strategic and all of the Say Her Name campaign that they have been living and breathing this season in the WNBA. We were on a call last night with the Mothers Network of the African American Policy Forum. And to hear the mothers on that call with all of your players listening in share their pain and their grief, I think the important part you are helping to facilitate with the Players Association is educating these women on some of these issues. So this is a well-educated group on what they're speaking on. How important has that been for you to facilitate all of that as well?
Yeah, I think the awareness, the education, the visibility, learning these stories, but also, Holly, I'll note, it weighs heavy on our players as well in a season that's condensed, 22 games, while a global pandemic is still out there. So it is weighing heavy on them. And so we're trying to do some things to show some hope, to show some change, but also facilitate awareness of these stories, which again, when you add in all the other elements happening in society today, is a big weight to bear for these players. So again, I respect their decision tonight. We support it, but we do hope to see them back on the court soon.